This is the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.
1, 2, 3, go!
We were looking the whole week, Greg and I, whether any of the games could take place, because all three, last week when I looked, it said there was 80% chance of rain.
Why don't they have like an intermediate stadium that they can play at?
Well, all the finals are up here in Gauteng.
Because we know that Gauteng has summer rainfall.
Why don't they just put roofs on cricket stadiums?
That we could turn it into a velodrome.
I saw that they do that somewhere in the Big Bash League. One of the games they had a roof. If the ball hits the roof, it's a 6, which I thought's a bit bizarre because it might be easier sometimes to hit it straight up if the roof's close enough and actually hit it for 6. Because it's not a dead ball, it's a 6.
Okay, I don't know a lot about cricket. I haven't played cricket. But I'm not sure that's a very easy shot to, just plan to have in your arsenal.
It's easy if it's probably a spin bowler and it's a bit tossed up. But probably if you get Brett Lee bowling 160 at your Mitchell Stark, it's not going to be easy to scoop it up.
I want to hear your story again about the first SA or the first T20 final.
Yeah, so way back in Bloem, so the first T20 final, it was still called the Standard Bank T20 way back. I think it was against the Cobras. I'm not 100% certain anymore. But then the Gestetner Diamond Eagles, no, not the Knights, it was still, yeah. And the first day, it wasn't the final. There was a few overs bowled and then the game couldn't finish because not enough overs, not enough time. And then they played on the official extra day that was put out for if it rains or something happens. And what happened is the Knights won, or the Eagles, and then the after party was in Bloem at a place called Barbas. And late at night, probably the next mornings, Monday morning, so it wasn't on the Sunday, the trophy broke. The handle of the trophy broke off. It's still standing in the Free State's the boardroom. They have the trophy there, but it broke. And the next year there was a new trophy out. So I don't know if when Cliffy Deacon, I remember him was part of when the trophy broke on the stage. I think David Jacobs was playing guitar, and somewhere in that morning that trophy broke there. And yeah, it's still standing in the boardroom.
Not claiming responsibility though.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you were never there. But you just remember hearing the story from a friend.
I was observing as a journalist.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell us a bit more about that, your history, how you've got into sport, this kind of career you've made in covering sport? And
Yeah, so I'm probably a late starter, not a late starter. I didn't participate in a lot of sports when I was young. I only started playing rugby when I was in grade 4, so under 11. So a bit of a backlog there, but and I played cricket only from then as well. So a bit on a late start, because you usually start in schools at grade 1, and now the guys start before school getting into the sports. But what got me was probably the 95 World Cup. Got me into it, the excitement and everything around it. Got me into sport, and I just loved it from there. And it grew from there. And then with what I started with the websites, and this was born out of way back. I'll take you back. Alex probably won't know this, but you didn't have a Wikipedia or stuff. You bought a CD in Carta, and on there was like your encyclopedia for where you did your task for school from. So it was now revolutionary because it wasn't going to the library. Yeah. So, and then I was like, probably you could do this for rugby as well. Have a type of CD where people buy it, and then and from there, luckily by the time I got to matric, websites were a bit more accessible, and that's where I decided to do this idea of all the info and results from the sport, it wasn't school sports then yet. It was Springbok rugby, getting stats from there, and that's more probably where it was born from. Yeah.
It's gone into school sport though, because you have now made a name for yourself with the amount of knowledge you have on school sport, and also the website School of Sports. It's now being also joining into the super sports school space and becoming part of that. It's quite incredible. How far back, how many years back do you think some of that data goes?
Probably I sat earlier with Gerard and I was talking now like the athletics. I've got results from probably from 1920 from the Free State Championships. I like a lot doing a lot of research and stuff. So I go to libraries still because there's info that you get that's not on the internet. You won't believe it. There's a lot of info and knowledge that's not on the internet. And we trying to capture that as well and trying to, because it's lost there in the library, probably gathering dust and trying to digitize it a bit.
I mean, how it's getting to the internet is because of people like you that have this passion. I mean, you've collected sports of 1920. That is still baffling to think about. Like, that wasn't even South Africa. As we know, it's even too back. With the British still here, it feels like that's a lot. So through this catalog, I mean, sure, for some of these results, you were there. What were some of the breathtaking ones? You know, ones that you're like, that one's staying in my memory bank.
Yeah, so when I got a chance to do a lot of research, I was working on a book that we were planned to give out when I was working at Volksblad in Bloemfontein on the schools rugby in the central region. And look, any team that in the central region beat Grey College, any team in the country that beat Grey College in rugby, it's a major day. You will see if a team beat Grey College, usually the other team in 5 years, there was a few Springboks that comes from that team that happened. And Grey, the last time they lost against a side from Bloemfontein, to give you interest's sake, was in 1992 against Centraal. And so when I researched, when I researched this book, it's a lot of those. So even Dr. Viljoen beat Grey in, I'm going to lie the date, but it was Gijsie Pienaar missed the game. So it was way back. Gijsie Pienaar and Hottie Barnard was the scrum off. He played Craven Week. Gijsie Pienaar never played Craven Week. To give you Hottie Barnard didn't become a Springbok or that, but Gijsie Pienaar did. But in that, so there's a lot of history in that Centraal team, for instance, where a player like Stephen Brink, who played Springbok Sevens, and it's usually a guy that has to be there to make that upset, but it's a long time. Before that, the previous defeat was in 83 against Louis Botha. Before that was in 68 against Jim Fouchier. So just for interest's sake, how Grey College in the central region, what the powerhouse they are. And, I mean, it's incredible, their stats. You can go,
So it used to be in the 1900s. It kind of sounds like 10 or so years. And now it's been 30.
That is, I mean, we're from the Cape, so the idea of going up to Bloemfontein, we don't even try to send people up there. But to hear, I mean,
the dominance.
If you can really put into scope how dominant this team is, how would you put it?
To give you, you know, from the Cape, so probably one of the only schools that have a positive record against Grey College is Rondebosch Boys High.
Yes, there we go. Yes,
but I think they last played in 1967.
We'll claim it.
Doesn't matter.
We'll claim
doesn't
it.
matter.
We'll claim it.
It's a bit like I've heard that there's one team that has a positive win. They have 100% series win record against New Zealand, and it was like a way back.
It's Rhodesia. I think during the 1949 tour of the All Blacks here, they played Rhodesia twice. One was a draw and one was a win.
Yeah. So Rondebosch.
It's fine. We'll claim the record.
That data, though, is so rich because you can go and find information about a Springbok who's not even a Springbok yet, a Protea who's not even a Protea yet, someone who goes off and plays tennis for another country, netball, whatever. You can find that information now, which is so powerful. I mean, apart from the data just being interesting for the sake of it being there, have people been asking you, like, can you find something out for us? Has there been applications of the information?
No, definitely. And look, it's usually people ask me a lot about the Craven Week beforehand, like, when is the last time this team has beaten this one? And of course, it's difficult. You don't find that elsewhere. And it's I haven't even captured everything or digitized it. I have it, but I haven't. And so it's probably on the Craven Week and even the Kayamajola Week, there's a lot of info that's, and it's, people ask, and when is the last time a guy got a century? When is when Diego Rogier, when he was SA Schools captain in Cape Town, I think 2011, he was the first time ever that a player from Griqualand West was captain of the SA Schools cricket team. So it's quite stuff like that. It's interesting, and I mean, there's guys that came from Griquas that played proper cricket but never SA Schools captain. So it's quite interesting. All of those, the firsts are, and you will never think that there could be still a first, but there's always time for a record or a first.
I mean, that is truly inspiring to hear you go so in depth in this. I mean, most people, when they think, I keep a database on this, the final score, maybe man of the match, but the fact that you're keeping such in-depth records it's inspiring. I mean, what inspired you to dive this deep?
Yes, I probably it's
Just happened.
it just happened. It's probably my nature that I'm very inquisitive and I ask questions. Now, always someone tells me, no, I played Craven Week in 2002 and I did Free State. I was saying, no, you're not Bismarck du Plessis. So it's I always question stuff. So it's probably from there, having an inquisitive nature, and also covering the sports it's nice to, when people see Andre Pollard play, I think back of the first time I saw him in Upington at the Grand Como Week. And it's nice to see the guys develop from there and see, I've made a note of him and he made it. And it's,
And I think that's what's so incredible about all this data that you have, is that now with Super Sport Schools being on TV, doing more sport than ever before, we're going to have thousands and thousands and thousands of matches this year. I think last year was in excess of 25,000 games streamed, and this year it's going to be somewhere in the region of 60,000 streaming hours on Super Sport Schools. So there's a lot more competition being seen out there, and to augment that with stats and information, because if we go and watch cricket on TV, for example, and someone scores 256 in a T20 in Bloemfontein, then they'll come up and say, okay, here are all the highest chases of the past 100,000 years for cricket at Bloemfontein, which we don't have for school. So to add that in, I think, is really exciting.
And it's giving more kids the opportunity to make a living out of sports, streaming, as well as getting perspective. The stats gives a bit perspective, because I see a lot of people on Facebook would say, oh no, he bettered the SA Schools record in athletics. We've seen it the past week a few times with posts. But the only place where you can better the SA Schools record is at the SA Schools Championship. So it's quite and people don't know it. And then also to break a record at a schools meeting, say the SA Junior record, because you can do that. There's a lot of stuff before it could be ratified. You have to be tested, drug tested for illegal substances. There should be a SA official there from Athletics South Africa that could say, oh, the weight is right of the javelin for argument's sake, or the wind meter has been calibrated and all of that. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be in place for a record to be ratified. So it's interesting, and people probably don't know this because your kids are at high school for 5 years, and it's not deep diving as much as I've been doing, or the guys that work with it every day. And
broken the world record for the 100 meter. It's a PE teacher with a manual stopwatch.
Who didn't start it until halfway through the race. Suddenly you're wondering, oh, this guy must be the new Usain Bolt. He got it in 4 seconds.
4 seconds.
Oh my goodness. He didn't stop.
Spur back bacon is like having fillet for breakfast. Because back bacon has more meat and less fat. And we grill that back bacon at 350 degrees. Then serve it with 2 large eggs, golden chips, grilled tomato, toast and jam. And at only $49.90 for our unreal breakfast. Why not bring the whole family? Spur, people with a taste for life. T's and C's apply.
The fact that it's all recorded and is there is cool. I want to know from you if there any, they don't need to necessarily be records, but just anything that you've discovered over time. If you've got a top couple facts that just you think are quite interesting, or figures, I'm sure there are, but to pull them out on the spot.
Yeah, it's, you know,
We're testing the encyclopedia here.
No, it's fine. So I'll tell you a lekker story. So I've watched Malcolm Marx play at flank for the Lions at the Academy Week. I only came for the last day that year, 2011. And he played Academy Week in the final against Western Province. He was a flanker. And then next year, I drove a friend of mine, BC du Plessis agent, and we went to the Bonderdag in Rustenburg. And Malcolm then just moved to hooker. And he said, no, I must come with and have a little bit of look, can this ook throw into the line out? And we watched it, and I was like, nah, this ook will play SA schools definitely. And the water polo, you could see he can throw the ball in. It's I know he struggled at the next level a bit with it, but you always knew he was something special. It's like that moments in Idols or in America's Got Talent. A person steps out there and you don't know who they are, what, and the moment it's 5 seconds in, you know, okay, this oak is gonna
Go far. Yeah.
So that's always I can't think of stats that's incredible. It's probably a lot, yeah.
I think that's a cool story, though, to have been part of these journeys, to see someone before they are the sensational players that they are today, like Malcolm with his lineouts, his steals, his jackals. It's so cool. Going forward this year, I know, obviously, and we've mentioned it a bit, that you're coming into the Supersport Schools fold, and there's going to be more, I guess, than just streaming of matches now. There's going to be text content, articles, that sort of thing. So what are you most excited about for being involved in Supersport Schools this year, and plans for that?
What makes me most excited, look, the rugby's has been built out, the athletics, but it's the other sports, the football, the basketball, netball, the hockey, that's being built out as well now, giving more written content and more stats on that as well. It's if we write 2 articles a week, we plan to do a lot more on each of these sports. It's more than has been done in the previous years for all of those sports. It's incredible to give that coverage. Yes, I hope that it's a platform that you go, if you want to know anything about school sports and want to be a research, or being a parent that's probably played school sports and showing your son or your daughter, I played here, look my record that I've put there or won this meeting here. It could be nice to have a bit of a record of that. I think that's the important part.
Well, you are the person with all the facts and the figures, and something we've added to the Supersport Schools podcast now is the quiz. And so before we do it, to break it down, if you haven't seen it before or listened to it, and to tell you about it, basically you're going to go up against Tim. You'll each get separately 60 seconds to answer as many questions correctly as you can. It's got to do with school sports in general. And we've got a bit of a leaderboard going. So basically you go up against Tim, so you can place wherever you place on the leaderboard. You can beat Tim as well. You can lose to Tim, place on the leaderboard. We'll see what happens. I think of all the ones Tim's done, this is probably...
this is the one I'm most confident on losing, have to say.
I'm waiting for where's the teleprompter with the answers on.
Wait. Okay, we're ready to go. Come on, we need a blooper reel.
All right, it is time for the quiz between Hannes and Tim. Now, we thought, because Hannes has done sort of quizzing with Supersport before as part of media, and because this really is the most stacked the odds have ever been against Tim, I'm going to go into our old algorithm here, find basically a random section of questions that we've had on the podcast before. So we're going to see how well you remember. You might have even answered them and got them wrong. Other people might have answered them. And then Hannes has got a really, really down the rabbit hole set of questions. So this is going to be interesting to see if he can top the leaderboard, even with the much more random questions that you're going to have.
Let's hope I don't lose against somebody with a handicap.
60 seconds, Tim, on the clock. Are you ready?
Sir.
Your time starts now. True or false? You can move with the ball in netball.
False.
Correct. Name either the junior men or women's winner at the 2022 Standard Bank SA Schools boat race.
But St. Mary's?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time rugby was played at the Olympics, it took place in the 15s format. But which country won the gold?
US?
Yep. Kagiso Rabada attended the same high school as England's Michael Lum and New Zealand's Grant Elliott. Which school was it?
Yes.
St. Stithians. How many players are there on the field in a cricket team?
11.
Correct. What is the only country to have played in every FIFA World Cup?
Brazil.
Correct. Wow. Complete the iconic derby Michael House versus?
Hilton.
Yep. What is the only sport that has been played on the moon?
Golf.
Correct. True or false? A hockey goalie is allowed to play the ball with the back of their stick. It's false. Which channel is Supersport Schools going to be broadcast on DSTV?
T16.
Correct. Who has won more first 15 rugby derbies, Paul Boys or Paul Jim?
Welcome.
Correct. In time. Time is up.
All right.
I can't even ask the next question.
You did
I
very
think
well.
That went very well, Tim, compared
Thank
to
you.
previous times.
It's not like I've never heard these questions before. First time.
Let's put this into perspective. Mark Jury, Coach Cooks, blind, without seeing the questions before, ever. Both got 9. Timothy Matama, having done the quiz twice, 3 times now, having done it many times, behind the scenes even practicing, having heard all the questions before, and the answers, and having done some of the questions before and still getting the same
That's
answers
the
wrong.
third time I got the hockey question wrong. You thought I would have learned by this stage.
All you have done is equaled them. So I was going to say, no, we can't have you going above and being at the top. We can put you on the leaderboard with 9. So you can be on the leaderboard there. Everyone's got 9. Luca's got 6. But it's time for Hannes. We'll either have a change of guard or a very well-fought battle against some ridiculous questions. Hannes Nienaber, Encyclopaedia of School Sport. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You've got 60 seconds on the clock, and your time starts now. Who holds the South Africa 100-yard record?
Viva Jinkwa.
No, Simon Makakwe.
Oh, sorry.
How many races before George Russell got his first F1 point?
I'm not sure. It's false.
37. How many points for a shot inside the circle are you awarded in basketball?
1.
It's 2. In 1908, Bosch and Bishops played their first match. It was the under-16As. What was the score and who won?
Bishops 110-0.
Oh, it was 112-0, but that's a point. Grey College is regarded as the best rugby school in history. What win percentage that they had since 1855?
I think 93%.
It's close enough, 91. What does a black flag in Formula 1 mean?
I'm not sure. Boss.
Disqualified. What was the first country to host the Cricket, Rugby and Football World Cups?
Australia.
South Africa. Which country was the first to win all 3?
Yeah, that's a tough one. England.
Yeah. Which South African won the 100-meter for South Africa in the 1908 Olympics?
Reggie Walker.
Yeah. Who were the 1892 Currie Cup champions?
1892, Griqualand West, Western Province.
Yeah, Western Province. There we go. On the buzzer.
Yeah.
Much harder.
Yeah.
No, I
Just
think
that.
Much
honestly,
harder.
I think I could take those questions.
I reckon you get to 2 times multiplier there. So you get 10.
Whoa.
No, that.
No.
He called 5. He called 5.
No.
He called 5.
Let's double this down, okay? Because I technically won this with 9. So, if I get higher than 5, I can claim the new name of Encyclopaedia.
Ooh.
Tough one.
Okay. So, but you have to go all in.
All in.
So whatever you get now,
This will be my
is
new
your
score on the table.
So Hannes has gone first.
Yep.
Hannes has gone first. Set a target of 5.
I'm going to beat this 5.
You're gonna beat this 5.
Gonna beat this 5.
And you know what? Because there aren't enough questions. There are some. The ones he got wrong, I will also ask you.
Still don't know the answers, Alex. You know this for a fact.
Okay. Can Timothy Muthoma, on his second go, all in, beat 5? 60 seconds on the clock.
Already.
Your time starts now. Between which 2 school teams was the first ever rugby match in South Africa played?
Sax versus Bishops.
Yep. Who refereed the 1995 Rugby World Cup final?
Next.
Ed Morrison. Which South African is the only South African to have won a Grand Slam in tennis?
Andy
Johan
Murray?
Kriek.
Yeah, Johan Kriek. What is the South African
I'm taking
under
that
18 100 meter girls record time?
9.8.
11.24. Ambitious. Who holds the South Africa 100 yard record?
Jackie something.
Simon Makakwe. We asked him how many races before George Russell got his first F1 point.
37.
Correct. And we've run out of questions.
How many did I get?
We've run out of questions. We've asked the basketball.
How many points do you get?
It's 2, yeah.
It's 2. Okay, well, that's the only one. And you would have got 3. So
No. I got more than 3, Alex. Surely. Please tell me I got more than 3.
let's to wrap it all up, to end off the conversation we've had, because it's been very interesting going into the archives. And while that wasn't a straightforward Super Sport Schools podcast quiz, Tim went all in. Hannes enters it with 5, but at a much, much higher standard than everyone else. So we
I
put a
feel
little
like
brain
we
there.
need a second table.
A second table, just
Like,
for
we can have like the like,
advanced masters.
yeah, it's like championship division, regular
Master.
division.
And we can give you 2 points or 3 points in that one. Okay, we'll do that.
3 on championship. I'll take
Yeah.
that. Even though most of the questions you had already answered.
We won't talk about that. Hannes, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you guys. I enjoyed it. It was very nice.
This has been the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.